Prom Night, 1980. It's prom night at a high school, and 4 teens that are responsible for the death of a classmate 6 years prior are about to meet their own death and stuff at said prom at the hands of a masked, axe-wielding killer. Filmed in and around Don Mills Collegiate Institute High School and St. James Cemetery in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The filming also included the Ontario Scarborough Bluffs, where you can go hiking, picnicking, barbecuing, swimming, and do other stuff at Bluffers Beach. Paddleboard and sailing is also an option. Or just take in the natural beauty of the Scarborough Bluffs. But let's not forget that the old Langstaff Jail Farm in Richmond Hill was also in this film. And it's an old dilapidated building. Don't go there. Prom Night 1980 stars Jamie Lee Curtis from the Halloween franchise fame, and she plays Kim, another final girl. Leslie Nielsen from the Naked Gun franchise fame plays Principal Hammond. Anne-Marie Martin, also known as Eddie Benton, from Competitive Horse Riding. That's not a movie, it's just competitive horse riding. Plays Wendy. And if you're wondering too, yeah, she also starred in Doctor Strange. No, not that Doctor Strange. And she also co-wrote Twister with Michael Crichton of Jurassic Park novel fame. And a big special shout out to George Takolaktos as Lieutenant McBride, because he does some great late 70s detectiving and at the end of the day kinda useless. Bob Silverman from David Cronenberg's movie franchise fame, and Jason X plays Mr. Sykes, that weird janitor guy and alcoholic. And a big shout out to David Mucci as Lou, the dumbest man that's ever lived. And I also remember him from the Law and Order shows. Music and soundtrack, yep, this movie has one, and it's really, really good, was composed by Paul Zaza, who also did Curtains 1983, and Carl Zittrer, Black Christmas 1974. Zaza himself, under the orders from the director, ripped off a bunch of popular disco music so not to pay royalties on this movie's Prom Night 1980's small budget. They got sued in the end and had to pay $50,000. But the music and soundtrack pays off in the dance scene and the final sequence. Paul Lynch directed this film with help from his sister doing the dance choreograph. And without the experienced filming crew and good equipment, they put together a great, straightforward slasher film in Canada. Bobby Gouza Jr., Curtains 1983, wrote a treatment, and then with the help of Pete Simpson, Curtains 1983, as the producer, got Billy Gray to write the script, and boom, you got Prom Night 1980, with the pace and the tone of an awesome classic, because this is an actual classic. Paint by the numbers, slasher horror movie. The quality of this film's set designs and visuals is as good as it gets for the late 70s of a horror genre film. And it looks good, it sounds good, and the actors do good in this movie, folks. Spoilers, 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 spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Okay, I'm gonna do two things I'm gonna promise myself to do. Promise number one, I'm gonna keep this under 20 minutes. And promise number two, I am going to limit or take away all the and and uhs I did in my last two reviews. Is that a promise? No. Will it go over 20 minutes? Maybe. Will there be and and uhs? Damned if I know. But I'm going to count on it. This movie, Prom Night 1980, is one of my favorite movies of all time in the slasher horror genre. Is it as good as Halloween, Carrie, Friday the 13th, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street movies? Nope. Is it as good as the original Saw movie? Nope. But it's still one of my favorite movies because it's just like Black Christmas 1974, Curtains 1983, where they take something and they originated it. It's an original play, it's an original movie, it's got original ideas, and it does something that started to be a trope now in all the slasher horror movie films that go right through the mid to late 80s to now. And yes, I know what you're saying. Well, come on, man. Come on, King of the Canadian Hill. You son of a bitch. You're not saying that they didn't rip off Carrie? In 1976 Carrie? Yeah, a little bit. They kind of took the Lou and Wendy character, and they kind of made Lou, I guess Lou was the poor man's John Travolta in this movie. Did John Travolta do a better John Travolta in Carrie? Well, yeah, but let me tell you something. If you were to ask me, well, who's better, the John Travolta character in Carrie or Dave Mucci's Lou Farmer in Prom Night 1980, I'm going to tell you something. It's Lou Farmer in Prom Night 1980. What David Mucci did in this movie to portray this character is the greatest thing I've ever seen in all of the horror movies I've watched. Lou Farmer is the dumbest man that's ever lived, and he is awesome in this movie. He comes to prom with a like some sort of t-shirt tuxedo thing going on, and he's got blue jeans on. I ummed. He shows up and gets a rider. He shows up throwing himself on Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and then he continues to harass her, and he assaults her in the cafeteria, and he has to get defended and thrown off by Alex. That is the killer of it all. Nobody likes him. People think he's disgusting, and the only reason why he gets himself a date is because he's a part of an evil plan. And yes, it's a very Carrie evil plan, but he's a part of it nonetheless. He gets driven around. He's broke. He mooches off his partner, his co-conspirator, Wendy, for burgers. He's actually a hauntingly ugly individual. He's got himself a big old nose, big old unibrow. He acts like an idiot. He is an idiot, and that's what makes him absolutely unbelievably enjoyable. What happens at the end there, for him to get his head lobbed off like that, sure, he's a scumbag that forces himself on women, but he's an idiot, And what he does is he gets exactly what he deserves at the end there, getting his head chopped off. I love that effect where they actually took the actor, David Mucci's head, and then just kind of cut a hole through the stage, and then they kind of put prosthetics and crap around him, loose skin, to make it look like a severed head. It's awesome. Great shot. And there's a lot of great shots coming from this movie. The dance scene, the panning shots, the killer POVs. I love the van scene where the couple's making out, smoking drugs, getting dirty, and they actually tell each other, it's like, yeah, let's go make out in the bluffs. Yeah, the Scarborough Bluffs. And that's awesome. So now I'm curious, because there's a nice pan shot of the bluffs, the great Scarborough Bluffs, and there's an American flag flowing in the background there. So are you telling me in this world that there is an American Scarborough Bluffs? Or is there like a Mississippi Bluffs? Because there's only one type of bluffs, people, and that's the Scarborough Bluffs. And if you've never seen the Scarborough Bluffs in person, you gotta come down or come up. Yeah, you can't come down. I mean, you can come down if you're living north from us, but we're Canada, and we're all north. We are the north. So come on up and take a look at the Scarborough Bluffs in person. You won't regret it. It's a great spot. But they got murdered in the van, and then the van sequence of the guy Slick. I think his name was Slick. Was it Slick Slade? See, now I've seen this movie multiple times, and the last time I saw it was 15 to 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. But when I was young, and me and my buddies were watching this, and I first watched this with my cousin, this was such a cool movie that we watched it multiple times. Did we cringe with the disco scenes? Yes, because we were cool young guys, and we're like, no, whatever. We're too busy listening to Korn and Limp Bizkit. We don't like disco. But now that I rewatch this, I love that disco scene. I love the music too. Even though the music did get horribly ripped off and they had to pay for it. But there's one song in particular that you will know, that if you now give this movie a chance. I watched this movie. It's only like 90 minutes, so it's not going to take too much out of your day. So go watch this movie, and damn it, I did another end. Go watch this movie, watch all the way through, and I will tell you, and you will pick this up. You'll see, you'll listen to it. As soon as you listen to it, you're like, oh, that's totally I Will Survive. But it's I forget what it was. Damn it, I forget what it was. It's like, I Will Not Die or something like that. But it's great. It's such a great. And there's other songs like that that you'll throughout the disco sequence, and then the killing finale sequence, that you're like, oh man, these are so easily ripped off. And the reason for it too was that the director used the actual real artist songs, so the people are dancing to the beat of the real, I have to pay money for these songs. So then when the director approached the poor guy, poor Mr. Zaza, to do the soundtrack and score, he actually said, you're gonna have to rip off and make songs that are very similar to the beat of what I used, because I'm not paying for these songs, and I already used the songs that I don't want to pay for. So what are you gonna do? So he had to do it. The poor guy had to do it, and he did a great freaking job, man. I listened to the soundtrack, and it was great. It is delightful to hear. It's delightful to hear because all the songs, you can clearly tell, are rip-offs of the popular songs that were in the 70s. Pays off. It pays off when you're listening to it. And funny enough, so our friend, Pete Simpson, who had to take over directing Curtains 1983, that Pete Simpson, told Jamie Lee Curtis that, oh yeah, you got the role, but you're going to have to dance your ass off, and you're going to have to prove to me that you deserve this role. So Jamie Lee Curtis had to do this insane dance routine to pull this off, but she had to dance her ass off, and it works. It pays off, because that dance sequence in this movie is fantastic. It's actually really good, and Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job of doing that. So, unlike Laurie Strode in the Halloween franchise, Kim Hammond isn't really, I don't know, that afraid, that confused of what's going on, because well, half the characters don't realize that there's a killer amongst them. The way this filming was done was structured. You had different plot holes. You had plot A, which was the killer killing everyone. Plot B, which was Lou and Wendy trying to dethrone Nick and Kim. And then you had plot C, which was Lieutenant McBride trying to catch the killer, which I'm still trying to figure out. So was it actually Alex that killed the first girl and left her in the abandoned school, or was it the burned up pedophile that escaped the institution that killed the girl and then stole the old buggy? I guess it doesn't matter, because this is just a nice, straightforward 90-minute slasher horror movie. So don't go into thinking too much. Why Prom Night 1980 is up there for me is it's goofy as hell. There's some goofy scenes in here. There's some goofy Lou slamming into garbage cans, driving away, and then Slick there driving up on the curb. And there's some just fun, good old teen peer pressure, and there's some cheesy acting and some overacting. But one of the weirdest things in this movie is Leslie Nielsen. This is his final role as a serious actor. After this, he went on to do Airplane and The Naked Guns and Dracula Dead and Loving It. It is so weird. In the limited role of Leslie Nielsen in this movie, for him to be serious. He's a serious actor, and he doesn't do nothing Leslie Nielsen like. And I was really hoping that I forgot. I haven't seen this movie in such a long time that I forgot a funny scene with him in it. So while all the other actors are doing some sort of goofy, kind of funny, trickery afoot stuff, there was nothing from Leslie Nielsen. And I was kind of saddened by that, because Lou is the star in this one for me. He's a goofy, macho idiot that forced himself on women, and then he got his head chopped off, which is great. But there was nothing from Leslie Nielsen of goofy funniness, and there could have been something there to make this movie perfect for me. Would have been Leslie Nielsen comedy, but it wasn't there yet. It just was so close, and I kind of feel bad about that. Because it would have been useful, it would have been great, but what are you gonna do? It's the Prom Night 1980 is still an all-time favorite for me, nonetheless. So if you're actually looking for that ripped off, oh yeah, and one more thing, if you're actually looking for that ripped off soundtrack for Prom Night 1980, it was incredibly popular because even though it was released in 1980, the early 80s, and disco was kind of going out of style at that time, because it was that's disco for you. It was good in the 70s, that was it. But it was amazing. It was hugely popular in Japan and stuff like that. You can find it easily enough. It's a good soundtrack. It's fun as hell. And if you're ever bored and you're sick and tired of listening to actual music that you normally listen to, or if you're actually a fan of disco, you could be a fan of disco, grab this soundtrack. It's actually quite fun. It's fun to listen to, and you get a good chuckle out of it because you ripped it off. So we're keeping this under 20. At the end of the day, is this movie, because this is important, this ranking, very important. At the end of the day, guys, is it bootaccular? Is it spootastic? Or is it eerily awesome? I gotta tell you guys, this is eerily awesome. Yep, nailed it. Eerily awesome movie. Love Prom Night 1980. I guess I am interested. This movie is so cool for me and so good to me, whatever, that I actually do want to watch the other Prom Night movies. I think there's four or five in total of the Prom Night franchise, and I kind of want to watch the rest. Now, the other sequels have nothing to do with the actual original Prom Night movie. They're just under name only. So, what are you going to do about that? You can't do much about that. Oh yeah, and one other thing. One of the biggest reasons why I love this movie for what it is the killer is actually a practically dressed killer. This is it. There's no sweaty, rubbery mask through crappy eye holes that he can't see, and you don't need supernatural powers to see through a crappy thick mask. Or it's bright, or nothing like that, man. No, this is a practical killer. This is the most practical killer you're ever gonna see, and that's why you should watch this movie, because he wears all black, and he wears a ski mask. He just wears a freaking ski mask that's tight against his face, and he's got big ol' eye holes in that ski mask, because it enables him to see better, so he can stalk and do stuff. And he borrows from, what Jason does, where he kind of just takes weapons that he grabs on the fly and uses them. And he doesn't need a specified, glove with knives on it or stuff like that. And I think that's cool. That's a really cool killer, because that shows that the killer is unlimited in his resources and his motivation, right? Sort of, until you find out that at the end that he's the twin brother of the girl that got murdered, falling out of the window there because the bunch of kids scared the crap out of her. That's the motivation. But at the coming up to that point, you're like, what is the motivation? Who is this? I guess some people kind of figured it out, probably in the beginning there, but you never know. What is the motivation? But at the end of the day, Prom Night 1980. Good stuff. Cheesy, goofy, funny, classic. A classic horror slasher. Watch it now. And the van explosion was really cool too. You gotta put that one in. The Scarborough Bluffs van explosion down the hill was really awesome too. Okay, that's it. Under 20 minutes. I'm sticking under 20 minutes. Okay. That's gonna do it for this review. Another review in the books. Another one in the can. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all the stuff that I missed, because the research is light on my end by choice. So fill in the holes of how accurate and stuff I missed, and stuff that you want me to know, or you want other people to know if they just happen to click on this video, and that'll do it. We'll spook you later, and we'll scare you next time. Under 20 minutes, my ass. Damn it.